Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the final video for this week's weekly comic book roundup. And we'll be covering the miscellaneous Marvel books as well as this week's DC books. Starting with Conan, Battle for the Serpent Crown, number 3. So where we left off with Conan in Battle for the Serpent Crown, he had ended up making his way to Las Vegas. And met up with a young thief named Nyla Skin. Nyla offered to team up with Conan to rob the Hotel Inferno because, well, Nyla could use Conan's help robbing the stash of one Imus champion, which included a special ring which had been stolen from Nyla's friend. The Black Cat got involved. Conan and Nyla got their hands on the ring, only to find themselves suddenly in Wakanda. And, well, their movements had not gone unseen, as both Mephisto and Imus Champion are watching. Which is where we begin, with Mephisto and Imus Champion watching as Conan and Nyla end up in Wakanda. Basically, Champion's whole thing is he has to steal. They have to find an artifact in Wakanda. Then, basically, Mephisto gets to take over the world with Imus ruling at his right hand. In Wakanda, Conan and Nyla are following the ring. They briefly happen upon Wakandan security, but stay out of seemingly stay out of sight. As the ring begins to glow, Conan chucks the box it's in as well as the ring itself when the ring hovers in midair and then launches itself onto Conan's ring finger, possessing him. He says the scepter, and while Conan does fight against the ring's will, he still finds himself forced to follow it, leading to a cave, though finally Conan is able to break control of the ring and shatter the ring. He and Nyla go into the cave, and Nyla somewhat tells her history with it. Her friend Max, the ring was his. Max never told Nyla where he got it. She talked about how pretty it was, and apparently Max would joke that she could have it when he died. Crook's inheritance. Then Imus Champion killed him for it. As the two go deeper into the cave, they find a hidden chamber within. A chamber that features an altar to Set. And at the foot of the altar is a serpentine scepter. However, before Conan and Nyla can take the scepter, Black Panther arrives. Conan and Black Panther fight, and are rather evenly matched, though Panther is able to get behind him and briefly stun him before the arrival of Imus Champion, who takes the scepter and then leaves. Black Panther briefly garners respect from Conan by basically being a king who isn't petty. And, well, there seems to be at least a degree of mutual respect between Conan and Black Panther, as Black Panther says that a king who refuses to be petty is a rare enough sight. Well, so is a thief who isn't a coward. Nyla explains what's going on, and Panther explains that while he didn't get too long of a look at the scepter, he'd recognize the origin of the etchings anywhere. At the Hotel Inferno, Mephisto is quite pleased with Champion having got the scepter. But there's still more work to be done. With the scepter set in hand, Miss Champion and Mephisto can claim their prize and seize the Serpent Crown from Atlantis. And that is where the issue ends. So, yeah. Namor's getting involved. Because, Conan's got to interact with everybody in the Marvel Universe. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's actually kind of cool, but it's fun. Moving on to Strikeforce, number 8. Where we left off at Strikeforce, while on Monster Island, well, formerly known as Staten Island, Strikeforce Blade cut a deal with Bridget, the former advisor of Count Ophidian, leader of the Verdai. The deal that Blade cut was Strikeforce would hand the Count to Bridget, and the Verdai would disappear. Reston wasn't too happy with this, however, and when Bridget tried to escape with Ophidian, they followed her back to Svartalheim, landing in the middle of a battle between opposing Dark Elf armies. So we begin. Angela lying on a bed. Her lover Sarah playing for her. However, Angel opens her eyes and realizes that no, she's not in heaven. She's still in Svartalheim being tortured with the Thought Feeder. Blade arrives. And him and Angela kill the Dark Elves that were captured, and then Angela hops on the horse that Blade brought. The Dark Elves are held back for a bit. They discuss what's going on. Apparently, however, it's harder for Spectrum to track the Verdai in Svartalheim because there's a lot of static. The Verdai energy is less unique here, so she can't isolate it. And so it's decided that Blade and Hellstrom will stay where Strikeforce is currently hiding. The rest of the team, however, will make their way to the Black Bifrost. First, however, when another Thought Feeder is brought out to be used on Angela, Winter Soldier disables it, and it's decided that Winter Soldier will work off the cost of the property that he damaged, and when they return, the team can have him back. So they travel forth, making it to the remains of the Black Bifrost, while Spectrum stays behind with Winter Soldier. Wiccan discovers something interesting about the remains of the Bifrost, and suddenly Spider-Woman, Wiccan, and Angela find themselves in Hell. One Hell, not two. So the Asgardian Hell, facing the Queens of Hell, Carnilla and Hela. There's some vague comments made. the kind that are intended to be misinterpreted when magic, especially when magic users are involved. But we get to just maybe it's a test, and the comments are both vague and specific at the same time. But he explains that the taunting, the sort of specificity of the taunting, you know, when things feel like a mythic test to you, they just might be. So Spider-Woman and Wiccan stay in hell. Angela returns to the side of the Black Bifrost and is met by her mother. They fight. However, it's a quick fight, and Freya does understand that, yes, her daughter's heart is in the right place, and she's trying to do the right thing. However, Blade, Spectrum, Winter Soldier, and Hellstrom are on the way with hordes of Dark Elves behind them. Birgit comes out in her true-ish form. Wiccan grabs Count Ophidian, and they leap into a teleportation circle and return to Monster Island, where Deadpool's cleaning up their mess from previously. Deadpool's not happy about this. Basically asking for give them one good reason to let them stay on Monster Island. And so Spider-Woman explains that she's taking a business meeting, pulling out the card of Don Bikini. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on to Marvel's distinguished competition, we kick things off with Dark Knight's Death Metal number 2. Bask in the awesomeness of that cover right quick. And before we get started on the issue itself, I'm going to show off a couple of the variants as well. First off, you got this super awesome Lobo variant. The main man being, well, the main man. And a Harley Quinn variant by Archer. I figured, why not pick them up? They weren't marked up, so. Anywho, on to Dark Death Metal Part 2. So we begin, a lizard is going through the grass. However, it turns out to be a lizard suit. And the Batum, yes, Batman combined with the Atom, is doing recon, trying for Castle Bat. Explaining that there's no sign of Wonder Woman and company yet, but he swears that if they dare come this way, the Batman will teach them that big things come in small packages. Well, presumably packages. As he's saying that, he's probably run over by the Batmobeast. And so they arrive at the Hellscape, outside of what used to be Washington, D.C. Turns out, however, that they're going to Valhalla Cemetery, the Crypt of Heroes. Guarded by a rotation of trusted custodians, who appear to have among them a Green Lantern. But it turns out the current custodians are in fact the Justice Society, Jay Garrick, The Flash, Dr. Fate, Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and Wildcat. All looking a bit past their prime. Wonder Woman wants to see Batman, who is in the crypt conscripting an army. Alongside Jonah Hex, who basically is passing on information. So Diana stops him, and they talk for a minute. He explains that what matters is that Diana's wrong, and he knows she's wrong because he made the same mistake last time they faced down an event like this. When Barbados attacked, he was the one who said the League should go after the 10th metal, the very building block of reality. He was the one who said they should go to the Forge of Worlds. He was the center of the conflict, and he thought by reaching in higher together, they'd not only win, but make the universe better. Instead, they broke the source wall and set Perpetua free. And with Luthor's help, she's become 100 times more powerful than any Barbados. When they reach higher again and try to use the energy from Dr. Manhattan to combat her, they fell. Now there are barely any Earths left. Those who oppose Perpetua end up on her antennae, and those who oppose her join her army of monsters. And here's Diana talking about trying something even crazier. And so Swamp Thing talks a bit of sense into Batman. Then Barry shows up. They've got a plan. However, back at Castle Bat, the brain of the Batman Who Laughs is being placed into a Bruce Wayne whose body is more an energy construct than material flesh. The theory is that by implanting the brain of the Batman Who Laughs into it, it'll absorb the brain of the Batman Who Laughs, and in the process make him into something far more powerful than he was in life, a being of near unlimited power. And so he comes to reforms his body as the Batman Who Laughs, and Perpetua calls him. Explaining she sensed a disturbance. Went on to explain that she's conquered another Earth and 6 remain. And while Perpetua is well aware that the Batman Who Laughs is a trickster, she explains that the beings like her kind, hands, they sense what's happening. They will come for this reality again, as they did when she first created it. Only she can conceal them from hands because if the Batman Who Laughs were to assert Perpetua, the hands will come for them both, and Perpetua's judgment, while harsh, is nothing compared to the reckoning they would bring. And so the Bat Knights then ask what the Batman Who Laughs would have them do. And he promptly just motions them out of existence. Except for one of the crows. And so he explains that the Dark Knights were admirably vicious, yet wanting. However, in this crow, he senses darkness, and he asks the crow to tell him his story. And he says that his power is still weak, and he could use a like-minded ally. And he asks if the crow would like to be his Robin King. The crow then says, "Crow?" Explaining that, and the Batman Who Laughs then says, "Oh yes, he will have a crown. But now they have work to do. The heroes are making their move. so they must make theirs. The dynasty seeks to redo the multiverse, rebuild it from scratch. Well, so does he. But he will build something never seen before. 52 planets of nightmares, beautiful in their horror. And he's going to take his new form now. Explaining that blue is for soldiers of morning, of light, but he is no dawn. In fact, he can simply be called the darkest night. And that is his new form. A Batman of shadow and absolute darkness. In the Arkham Wasteland, Batman, Jonah Hex, what's left of Swamp Thing, Wonder Woman, Barry Allen, and Harley Quinn are working to save the day. They go into the Dr. Arkham tries to stop them from going into the bunker they had, where our heroes are immediately met by seemingly the rest of the Dark Knights. The Dawnbringer, the Devastator, the Murder Machine, the Red Death, the Drowned, all of them. All but the Batman Who Laughs. Batman explains that they're recreations of the Dark Knights. The bunker was built after the last Barbados. It houses machines created by Toymaster in case there was another incursion. And Diana says, last time they talked to Toymaster, he built the League, the Combining Justice League Super Robot. She's surprised that Batman had him build something stealth that could get our hero to do Apocalypse undetected. Something subtle, and it's not exactly something subtle. And outside, a hole opens in the ground. And the not exactly subtle thing that was built by Toymaster is revealed. A Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman robot. The Trinity Bot. Which looks an awful lot like like a kind of a repurposed version of the Superman Batman robot from Superman Batman Public Enemies. And that is where the issue ends. After next month, additional tie-in books to Death Metal start coming out. And so after next month, I'll actually be doing, I think, either next month or, let's see. Yeah, after next month we'll be doing a event catch-up video covering all the Death Metal goings-on. Next up we've got Strange Adventures, number 3. Where we left off, Adam Strange, member of the man from Earth, space-faring member of the Justice League, was seen as a hero by the people of Earth. But there were those who were investigating. The League itself was actually investigating him, having tasked Mr. Terrific with this particular case. Terrific being rather impartial. But Terrific's already discovered some inconsistencies. He spoke to, and at the end of the last issue, Terrific came to visit Adam Strange. Also in flashbacks, Adam Strange was in the middle of the desert on Ran, and was basically had been captured by the what are they called? The Helitot, another sentient race native to Ran, who Adam was trying to convince to help them, to help the Ranians. So as the issue begins, Terrific's visit with the Stranges has come to an end, and Terrific leaves. Elena Strange is pissed, to say the least. We then cut back to Ran and the fight with between Adam and the Helitot. Seems to be going well. In the present, Adam is talking to Superman about everything, and starts trying to, just say, hey, look, man, I'm married to an investigative reporter, okay? There's a process here. And he kind of just, brushes it off, saying that they can talk afterward. And they're up against some kind of giant alien war machine. Back on Ran, the fight, Adam Strange's fight with the Helitot continues. On Earth, the League continues to fight this other invading army, and Adam's trying to talk to Hawkman. Apparently, his wife thinks that the whole investigation is a picked plot. The fight continues on Ran. A poison blade is cut at Adam Strange. Poison flows through him now. Back in the present. The Strangers go to talk to a gardener, or not a gardener, but a lawyer, the law offices of Gardner and Fox. And it's kind of, there's not much we can do. As the duel continues on Ran, the duel then continued briefly on Ran. Yes, the poison is affecting Adam little by little. Back in the present, there's a news report about the investigation by Mr. Terrific, and the Strangers are interviewed about it on national television. Elena kind of sees it as being a basic kind of, okay, yeah, we if anything, they've got the court of public. They should have public opinion on their side now. On Ran, as the duel continues, Adam is seemingly beaten, takes off his helmet, does a feint, and uses the sharpened crest of his helmet to decapitate the Helitot warrior, thus freeing Elena and basically saying, yeah, we're going to do it with your chieftain. In the present, Batman arrives at the Strange house to talk to Elena. He's trying to explain. Batman explains that Adam came to him. And he's on every screen objecting, raising the threat of invasion. People are getting scared. He wants to know what the game is. Batman continues saying that the investigation into Adam's possible crimes does not depend on public opinion. It is sanctioned and supported by the League, and it will continue unabated. Elena says so that he's searching for the truth about her home, her family, and he wishes for the search to go on without proper interference. And she seems actually rather. She says that she could not agree more with some of the. With a news channel picking up footage of the late night meeting between Elena Strange and Batman, and that is where the issue ends. Finally, on to our last book of the week, Daphne Byrne, number 6. Final issue in the series, I might add. Where we left off, Daphne's mother had been taken by oh, what's her name? By Mrs. Swarthmore, the false medium. Daphne had killed, and yeah, but Daphne found her mother and is now working to save her, having overheard Mrs. Swarthmore's plot. The plot being that whatever powerful force it is that Swarthmore and her ilk worship, well, he's prophesized to sire a child on Daphne's mother. And so they're arranging to have a wedding between one of the cult members and Daphne's mother. And then the idea is that their lord will possess her new husband and knock her up. So Daphne manages to make her way in, finds out where her mother's being held. Mrs. Swarthmore basically tells Daphne's mother, no. You're not going anywhere. This is how, you start screaming, I'm going to cut bits off of you. And she's given a dress to put on. Mrs. Swarthmore then explains the truth. That their lord has chosen her to bear his son. Mr. Fleming will be siring the child on our lord's behalf. Daphne's mother begins praying, and Mrs. Swarthmore explains that her God is the only one who listens before leaving. Daphne then gets in, tries to get her mother out of there, but it does not go to plan, and they are caught. And we then learn that it was a member of the cult who actually murdered Daphne's father after falling for 2 days. There's another child present as well, daughter of one of the other cultists. And the little girl's talking with Daphne while the cultists themselves chant. And suddenly, a mysterious spectral hand reaches out and takes hold of Daphne. And she stands asking who dares to summon her. Who dares to summon her? And that they believe that they would be granted power. The entity possessing Daphne explains that she comes whenever it chooses, and finds it laughable that they thought that the prophecy called for a boy. It's further explained that Daphne's mother already bore the child many years ago, the daughter who now stands before them. Suffice to say, their lord is not happy. Some gas is loose within the room as Daphne and her mother leave, and it interacts quite nastily with the candles, burning everyone alive. Of course, Daphne's mother is now terrified on account of the fact that Daphne killed all those people. When they return home, Daphne's mother tells Daphne to pack her things. They're leaving in the morning. Back to Europe, someplace where no one can find them. They'll find a Conan to take them in for a while, as they both need God's forgiveness. And then Daphne's brother shows up, complimenting how Daphne performed in front of Mrs. Swarthmore. Daphne asks her brother to never leave her. As the two kiss, and both appear to be Daphne's arm appears to have the flesh receding, while the same is happening to her brother's face. And that's where the title ends. However, we've still got chapter 29 of Sea Dogs. Where we left off, a bucket of powder has exploded upon the Havoc, shattering it at the waist. The ship's going down in the tormented seas of Hurricane San Calixto, and the ocean foams red with English blood. Jeannie and Dr. Hurt are trying to find something to hang on to, but one of the wolves attacks, going after Dr. Hurt, until Jeannie wraps a rope around his neck. A rope whose other end is attached, whose one end attached to one of the cannons. Jeannie then cuts the rope, holding the rope where it's between the point of the cannon and the deck of the ship. Tells Dr. Hurt to find something to hold on to, and maybe he'll survive. She then explains that she had him to hold on to for a time, and she thanks the stars for it. As she falls into the ocean with the cannon and the werewolf. That is where the issue ends. And that's it for this week's comic book roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.